Dzień dobry, dear colleagues, dear friends. It's a great honor for me to be here in the nice green new library of the Warsaw University. And when I met Marcin, we discussing that I will sharing our experiences with the new or big adoption of the new law of the higher education, which was approved and valid from the last September in Czech Republic. In my presentation, I will show the role of the different bodies in the universities on the example of the Charles University, and also the role of the president, ministry, and self-governmental body. When I shortly introduce the Charles University, it's establishing in 1348. We have around 50,000 students. 17% of them it's foreigners. Also, we have the nice number of the students from Poland. We have approximately 8,000 employees and 17 schools and some small other specialized units. If we will go on the governance of the university, there is the self-governing bodies. It is the academic senate, scientific board, rector, board of the internal evaluation, and also the bursar and board of trustees. And I will show the role of each of them in the process and communication with the government and university. What's the role of the rector? Rector is appointed by academic senate by the secret votes. The term is 4 years. And it's possible to be 2 times elected as a rector. And this process is done through the proposal is submitted through the Ministry of Education to the President of the Republic, which make the final decision. The vice rectors is appointed by the rector, and advisory bodies as a collegium of the rector, which is the vice rector, bursar, chair of the academic senate, it's appointed by the rector. The main role and power of the university it is in the hands of the academic senate. Academic senate is represented by the students, by professors, by staff of the university, and the body of the university is elected on each faculties. At the term of the academic senate is 3 years. And according to our law, during also the story which Velvet Revolution is coming, the democratic freedom in Czech Republic, it's according to the law, the number of students, it's very high, it's out of the other countries. The number of the member of the Senate from students, it is between the 1/3 to 1/2. It's mostly the students in the master program and PhD, but it's according to the law, this number of students, it should be in the academic senate. Academic senate, it's elect and dismiss the rector, approving the budget, approving the internal regulation, strategic plan, and also the other internal regulations and annual report. The scientific board, it is appointed by the rector with the approval of the academic senate. The scientific board, it is of the leading professors or scientists, which is the widespread of the research on the university. And according to the law, 1/3 of the members of the scientific board must be out of the university. It is, as example, the representative of the Academy of the Sciences. We have also the person from the Constitutional Court, representative for the other scientific institution, and also few of the respected persons outside the academia. The role of the of the scientific board is mostly the strategic and scientific strategy of the university, and also approving some results of the evaluation body for strategic research project, which is preparing by the rector's office and approving by the scientific board. and also the role of the scientific board is nomination of professors. Board of Internal Evaluation, it is a new body which is according to the new law. The new law is putting the part of the, we mentioned the institutional accreditation. I will mention later what does it mean. And the university should have established the board for the evaluation of the quality, evaluation of the new study programs inside the university, and evaluate these programs in areas of institutional accreditation. This board is chaired by the rector. It's an obligatory member. It is a chair of the academic senate, and also some representative of the students should be in this board. We make some experienced person, mostly the vice deans or people which working on the quality of education and research in this body, and it's according to the law, 1/3 is appointed by rector, 1/3 appointed by the academic senate, and 1/3 is appointed by scientific board. It's maybe the mixture between the role of this all self-governance body on the university, and as I mentioned, the main role, it is quality assurance and self-evaluation. The university has the other bodies according to the law. The Board of Trustees, it is the person which we are appointed by the Minister of Education on the proposal of the rector, which should be accepted or no. This board, it's representative of a person mostly out of academia or out of science. Our 15 representative, as I said, some examples. There are some persons from parliament. It's 5 of them. The chair of the Czech advocacy chamber. There is one director of the pharmaceutical company, one lawyer from the constitutional court, Archbishop of City of Prague, and this mixture of the society which may be looking for the strategy of the university. The main role of the Board of Trustees is approving the annual budget of the university, approving also the annual report, and make the assets, property, and this economic and financing issue is approving by the Board of Trustees. Bursar, it's working on the financial management of universities. This person is appointed by a rector. It's mostly management and economical role on the university. The internal regulation of university is proposed by the rector with the negotiation with the faculties, and the academic senate approving this internal regulation. It is study guidelines. Other it's accreditation guidelines. Other example, it is regulation to nomination of the honorary professors. Regulation of the stipends of the students, etc., etc. Total number of the internal regulation on our universities is 22. And this Senate is approving, and after the approval of the Senate, we're sending for the registration to Ministry of Education, and this internal regulation is valid after registration in the ministry, and the ministry there is looking, it is according the law and legal issues. And it is the role of the ministry, and the valid when we receiving approval and the number of the registration of this internal regulation of universities. About the finances, the Ministry of Education has distributed the annual budget for education and for science. As example, for Charles University, we have the approximately 9 billion Czech crowns annual budget, and this sums which coming from the Ministry of Education is 45%. Other 55%, it's our sources from the European grants for the projects and also for our financial activities, as example, publishing house and also other organizing the events and others on our faculties. And this budget is coming through the government, through the Ministry of Education, and it's distributing to universities according the number of the students, according the some quality parameters, is a number of professors, international impact, role of the transfer transfer knowledge to the companies, and there are some criteria which is done and negotiated annually with the ministry. For the budget for the research, it's coming by our system of the points and the evaluation of the government, how it's the scientific impact have the university, and they're distributing amount of money for the on the annual level. The budget which is coming to the university is divided to different parts of the university, and the scheme is approved by the Senate, and final approval is done by the Board of Trustees, which is looking that we are according the law and also which we are according the strategy of the society. And on the faculty levels, it is on the same. The dean of the schools is preparing the budget for the school departments and so on, and it's approved by the Senate of faculty. The universities have some strategic plan which is approving for a 5-year period according some schemes which is done by the ministry and the university, and this strategic plan is annually evaluated with approving by the Senate and sending the report to the Ministry of Education, and it's same on the level of the faculties. When we are looking for the new accreditation system, as I mentioned, it's starting by the amendment of the higher education law from September 2016. This law is establishing the new accreditation body. It is a National Accreditation Authority, which is independent. It is a little bit connected to the Ministry of Education, but only for distribution of the budget of this authority. The members of this national accreditation body, it is nominated by universities, nominated by the trade unions, nominated by the other ministries and so on, and finally it's approving by the government. And the role of this national accreditation authority, it's decided the schools which should have for institutional accreditation or approving the study programs on schools which not have the institutional accreditations. What's mean this accreditation commissions and the role of this body? It is a control role and also looking for the changing on the study programs. Institutional accreditation, it means according to the law decided 36. It's later. It is about the body. It's accredited the study programs, putting the accreditation for nomination of professors and associated professors, and this there is a numbering of the national accreditation body. It's totally 15 persons according to the law, which there is a nomination, as I mentioned. It is a proposal of the ministry, universities, students, and it's evaluated, and also there is a list of evaluators which is appointed by the chair of national accreditation body. And now there is a slide that's showing the institutional accreditations. According to the law, we have the 37 areas of the area of education. As example, economy, philosophy, theology, agriculture, healthcare, engineering, mining, energetics, sociology, pedagogy, and so on. And the university should apply to be accredited for this institutional accreditation. It's the university which should apply for institutional accreditation if in this area have the accreditation at the last 10 years. Secondly, they have the establishing the system of the quality control inside the university, passing through the internal evaluation, and have the system to approving the study programs. And this is evaluated by the national accreditation body. And if you receive the institutional accreditation, as example for pedagogy, you should, on the school of the education, evaluate it and approving internal by university, teacher for mathematics and physics, teacher for history and Czech language, etc., etc. And the national accreditation body only coming and putting the control role if all is according to the law and according also the governmental regulation, which is standards, which is put the standards, how many professors you need to each study programs, which equipment and which study programs must fulfill to be approving for the study program inside the university. It is a totally new process. We're starting now on it, and we're sending the Charles University will be the first one in the Czech Republic, and we're sending the institutional accreditation in 22 areas. And in October this year, it's finalizing our internal evaluation report. We're passing through the international evaluation through the European University Association. And now it's finalized the schemes of approving the study programs, and we will sending this proposal in October this year, and we will see if we were receiving institutional accreditation in all areas of 22, which is on our university done many years. This proposal is coming from faculty to university and finally to the national accreditation body. There is very important for the responsibility for the university, because if will not fulfill all criteria according to governmental recommendations, and the national accreditation body is find this diversity of this not compliance, the university will losing not only in the one program in this area, but losing the institutional accreditation for whole field of education. As example, as I mentioned, the pedagogy or educational process, we have inside 30 programs which is accredited by university. We losing the professors in the program of Czech language and history, and this will be in non-compliance. We're losing all accreditation for all 30 study programs in this field of education, and we must asking the accreditation body for each program inside and passing through this other administrative process. And this also responsibility is pressing the universities to developing and annually evaluating the system of the internal quality system for education process, research, and also for the management issue on the universities. There is also the possibility for accreditation to each study programs, which will be a little bit same as now. The study program coming from faculty to university, and university after approval transferring to national accreditation body. But as I show you, now we have 300 study programs which we have accredited, and we must sending the complete documentation 300 times. If we were receiving the institutional accreditation for 22 areas and field of education, we only go through the internal process of this 300 papers. It is less bureaucratic because we not fill all details, how many, what's our capacity of the buildings, what's other technical issues which will be included in the institution documentations. Yeah? It's very more simple and more focusing for the data for the study programs and research. Appointment of associated professor. Appointment of associated professor is appointed by the rector. Habilitation procedure starting on the school. The scientific board of the school is appointed the evaluation board, which is going through the CV, list of publication, habilitation thesis, and after the lecture of the scientific board of the university of the school, make secret votes if recommended yes or no. If it's recommended yes, it's sending to the rector. And I have two possibilities with discussion with my board. If it's all agree and there is a good scientist, and board recommended me to say yes, the person is appointed by the docent, it's associate professor. If I have some problems or that feeling that it is not so high-ranking person, I should transfer this proposal to the scientific board of the university with my recommendation or comments with me and with the dean of the school, and the scientific board of the university by secret vote decided if yes or no. It's, I said you, it's from approximately from 100 proposals, I sending to scientific board of university approximately 5%. 5% which I asking the scientific board, which is not clear for my heart and my mind if it should be the associated professor, I asking the board. For the appointment of the professor, it is a story a little bit the same. Starting on the school, 5 members of the committee, which also 3 of them must be out of the university, make some report. The proposed professor have the lecture on the scientific board of the faculty. If it's secret vote said yes, coming to the rector's office, and we put it on the scientific board of the university, where is a short presentation of the proposed professor. And after the secret vote is said yes, the scientific board, this person should be the professor. I will transfer these documents to Ministry of Education, and finally to the President of Republic, which is appointed twice a year, the professors in Czech Republic. Now we have the dates. Today it's the President signing the decree of the professor, and on Friday will be the ceremony in Carolinum. 83 new professors will be from all our universities. What's the role of the Ministry of Education, finally? Distribute the funding from the state budget for the education, research, projects. The Ministry of Education is also, it's governed the operational programs for European Union, and also the investments money, which is a specific program for between 5 to 7 years, which is approving by government, and there we sending the proposal for big investments on the universities. Controls the management of the financing and the processes of the university. Also, it's a report to the state about the level of the higher education according to the annual reports from the universities. Evaluate the strategic plans of the universities, and as I mentioned, the internal regulation of the university. The other roles, it is appointment, and this means the Board of Trustees, approve the status of the Board of Trustees, determine the salary of the rector, and propose members of the Council of the National Accreditation Authority. The President of Czech Republic have 2 rows appoints and diminish the rector according to the secret election of the Senate, and appoints a professor under the decision of the scientific board of the university. This both proposal is coming through the Ministry of Education. If I will, coming to the end, what the autonomy of the university, it is the internal organization, it is in the hand of the university, the number of schools, number of departments, and this internal scheme. Also establishment and control the self-governance body, as I mentioned, the rector, scientific board, board of internal accreditation. It's a financial management inside the university. It is in the hand of the university. We must go according to the law and report it to the ministry that it is according to the law, but ministry cannot say, rector, this money will be coming to the School of Law and this money coming to the School of Education. If it's not direct project. If it's a direct project, as example, we have a project for the support for, we said, the small languages. It's directly coming from the ministry to the rector's office to the department. As example, Czech Egyptology Institute have a direct line through the rector's office. But the other, it's in the hand of the Senate and of the Board of Trustees. Quality assurance, employing also the staff of academic staff and other staff. It's in the hands of the schools or on the rector's office. It's implementation of the study programs, organization studies. It's totally in the hands of the university. Also, we must fulfill the criteria which is done by the governmental regulations. Determination of the study fee, appointments of professors, habilitation process, it's in our hands. And also, we decided, according our history and our activities and our proposals, the number of admitted students. We received the sum of the budget from the Ministry of Education, and we cannot decrease than 90% than the last year. If, as example, for the next academic year, we have the 90.1%, we're receiving the same sum of the money as the last year. But this decreasing cannot be less. It is some brackets because now also we are in some demographic depression. And this is the main criteria which I prepare for this auditorium. What's the role of the different body, government, representative by the President, Ministry of Education, and also other areas of our self-governance body, and also what is the autonomy of the university according to the new amendment of the Higher Education Act, valid from the last September. And thank you, dziękuję bardzo, and I am prepared for your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ktoś z Państwa ma pytanie, tak? Śmiało, mamy mikrofony. Proszę bardzo.
Michał Szczęski, PhD student of the University of Warsaw. You mentioned that the participation rate of students in the University Senate is at least 33%. And how it is executed by the students? So how many of them are coming and how they are using this possibility to maintain their participation in the Senate?
They have the same rules and same strong votes as the professor, which is the member of the Senate, and the students is active. It's very, sometimes have new ideas for improving the educational process, and each school have two places. We have on the charts, we have the 50 to 50. approximately 48% is students and 52 is the professors or staff. And each school have 2 students elected and 2 professors or staff elected. And it's mostly the master students and PhD students on the school. And we have sometimes very nice discussion, and it's leading, as example, the students leading the social committee of the Senate and students committee of the Senate. Yeah. And they have same votes and same strong voice. If I should coming for re-election, the vote of the same, it's 1-to-1. Yeah. It's not discrimination for students in this process, but we, in some story, we are negotiate with the students and with the open mind discussion, and it's, I like it. I don't have a problem. Yeah. But it's very unusual. I think that it's 50%. It's a little bit too much, but it is a history which coming from Velvet Revolution. Yeah. Mostly on some universities, it's up to 15% or 20%. Yeah.
Prosimy o kolejne pytanie.
Stefan Jackowski, University of Warsaw. Let me make first one comment. I believe that the experience of the Charles University is particularly important for us Poles because we are coming from a similar tradition, which combines the German academic tradition of post-communist experience. So I would like to ask 2 particular questions. One is about the annual expenditure, and could you comment on the structure of your budget and of your spendings? And the second point is that we all somehow admire and notice relatively high position of the Charles University in various rankings. So how do you achieve it? Is it part of your strategy in a way, you know, how do you encourage excellent research in your university?
Thank you very much for the question. Our expenditures, it's 65–68%. It is the salaries. It's our expenditures of the university. The other main part, it is investment, and small part, it's coming to the funds. Yeah, but 2/3 it is the salaries. Yeah. What's now we negotiate, and I have the meeting on Thursday with our Ministry of Finance. It is a problem that the income from the government is same last 10 years. It's not increasing, and the Czech Republic is have for the salaries for the staff, academic staff, it is on the lowest point on OECD countries, if looking for the salaries. And we are now negotiating this story with the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Finance. The strategy for the funding the research, we approving the scheme of the funding of research from the money which coming from the government. We have the grant agency of the Charles University. It's founded the master students and PhD students for a small grants for their study and for their thesis. The acceptance rates, it's 35%. The other money is coming for the one programs, which is now the third call is starting. It is UNCE. It is a University Centers of Excellence. It is a group up to 10 people, which is leading and competitive in the Europe. Third, which is starting now, the second call, it's, we said the Primus. This, it's neither 1 or 2 people which coming outside from the universities and abroad. The second, the team must be young, up to 40, and should establishing new cutting-edge area of research. And the end point is proposal for the European grants. And we sharing the risk between the university and school 50-50. And if it's not after 1 year of the project, it's a project for 3 years plus 1, it's not supplying for the European project, the money will come back to university. And finally, we have the institutional money which is distributing to schools according to this points which coming from for the governmental office for research innovations. And what the rankings? Yeah, the ranking it's nice. It's very interesting for the journalists. What's the problem now? We are stable. In one ranking, we a little bit down. In other one, we a little bit up. We are around position around 300 approximately. But what's the problem? If I counted the cost effectiveness of our budget and our position, we are very good. Yeah, because it's a very low amount of money which the government giving to us, and also it's our activities. But to the ranking is coming the universities from Asia, China, a little bit from South America, and these countries, Turkey as example, these countries huge invest to the education, huge invest. We have the partners university, Nanjing University in Beijing. During the 3 years, they built on the greenfield new university campus for 30,000 students which studying in this campus during the 3 years. I expected in Poland and in Czech Republic after 3 years, should we do in the future? They do it. And this is growing up, and in West it's catching up the Chinese colleagues from UK and from US, and it's in West there. And if it's looking now, it's also a little bit down the UK universities. It depends also on the political situation. But it's question on the investment of the higher education, and some countries know that it's very important for the future. And they're doing, and it's many new universities in the top 100 and top 200 universities in the world, in different rankings.
Bardzo prosimy o zadanie ostatniego pytania. And the last question, please.
Piotr Węgleński, University of Warsaw. I understood that you have said that Rector at Charles University appoints and dismisses members of Senate.
Yes.
On the other hand, the Senate in some way controls Rector because, for example, the budget proposed by Rector. What happens in case when Senate does not accept the budget you propose? Then can you dismiss the Senate, or Senate dismisses you?
I cannot dismiss the Senate. Theoretically, Senate dismiss me. Yeah, but not in this issue. Yeah, it's a role of proposal. There is if it's sending the proposal of internal regulation or the budget, there is a 6-week period where the member of the Senate and schools should have some adoption. And during this period, you should negotiate. On the economic committee, you negotiate and speak with the colleagues and find a final solution. I not have the problem. I said you example. The last December, our university have the new set of all internal documents because we have the new law and you must adopt new law in our internal documentation. I said you. For the one internal documentation about the quality of education, we received 70 adoptions, 70 adoptions. We negotiate them with the proposers and with the committees, and on the plenum of the Senate, it's voted about only the 3 of them. You must negotiate, you must discuss and said why you select this money to this issue. An issue, if you have the good connection with the Senate and you discuss with these people and you have the support from the schools, because the schools have this 4 people for the Senate, it goes smoothly. But if the internal regulation is not approved, you should go for a second run. It's not done. If the budget is not done, the Senate maybe said, okay, we go this and this way, and you will negotiate and you will accept, and on the next meeting you will set the new proposal of the budget or annual report. Yeah. But it is a negotiation process. But not that if it's one proposal for the rector as internal regulation or budget or annual report, that the Senate directly diminishes the rector. It's not. For the approving, for the election of the rector, you need the majority of all members of the Senate, and it's qualified majority. For the dissemination, it must be 2/3 of the whole Senate. Yeah. And it finally go to the minister and president.
Bardzo Państwu dziękujemy za udział w dyskusji.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.